Now the goals just keep on coming at Manchester City for Erling Haaland. His 3 goals against Manchester United in the derby yesterday means he's made it a hat-trick of hat-tricks in just 3 home games, becoming the first player in Premier League history to do exactly that. The records just keep on being broken, but the question is just how many can he break? Well, the former Norway striker Jan Åge Fjørtoft joins us now. Jan, a very good afternoon to you. Always good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Well, you were lucky enough to be at the game yesterday. You got to see it at first hand alongside his dad, Alfie Haaland, a close friend of yours. Describe what it was like from your perspective. Just how special a performance was it?
Well, this guy never stops impressing us. I mean, since his first game in the Bundesliga, where he came on for 30 minutes and, of course, he scored a hat-trick. And he did the same thing again. It's just like this is the usual stuff that he's doing. So, but what is interesting to see in the last couple of 3 years is he's improving all the time. As you see here with his header. Someone said he was a bad header. OK, then he scores with his header. So his right foot is not good. They said, well, then he scored with his right foot against Wolverhampton. His left foot, we know, is good. And, well, he is a typical goal-getter, yes, but he's also a guy who makes assists. He made 2 yesterday. I always say he's the only goal-getter I've ever seen in my whole life that is more happy than his teammates scored than himself. So this is a special guy. He's a special player. He's a special goal-getter.
His attitude, just picking up on what you're saying there about being as pleased when he sees a teammate like Phil Foden, who, you know, we haven't talked an awful lot about today, but he got a hat-trick as well yesterday. But he looked just as delighted seeing Phil Foden get the hat-trick as getting one himself. His attitude seems exactly spot on. And that can only be a good thing in terms of what he's going to bring to this City side going forward.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. And because when he comes to clubs, when he came to Dortmund, it took him very short to adjust. I said it, 2 minutes, he came on and scored. Same as Manchester City. There was some, and I apologise for using that term, but I still use it anyway. Some lazy pundit said that Manchester City signed a counter-attacker and that he will not fit into Pep Guardiola. Well, do your homework. This is a guy that is very likeable. This is a guy that adjusts very quickly. This is a guy that his runs in the box is sensational, not only the counter-attacking kind of thing. And it's also a player that wants to improve all the time. And when you then come to Manchester City, you come to Pep Guardiola, who is an expert, is doing good players into great players, whatever he then can do with a great player. And he has great players in and around him. So I think that his personality is a lot into this because A, he adapting quickly, and B, he's so eager to get better.
Just 22, but already breaking record after record. Jan, some players obsess about records and trying to break them or at least match them. Others don't take any notice whatsoever. As someone who knows the family well, knows him well, do records matter to him?
Well, I was just finished in August with a documentary. I had a privilege to follow him in Germany and at his home. And we were talking about the records. And he said, now, I don't care about records. I don't know a lot about them. I know about afterwards when they congratulate me on a record. So I don't know. And then he was quiet for a while. And then he said, but Alan Shearer got 260 Premier League goals, doesn't he? So, I mean, he is like every other kid. He is like every other player. He will look at them. But again, this is about going to a club where he can win trophies. This is a guy who knows when he plays his teammates well, when he plays a Foden in or a Grealish in or a De Bruyne in, he knows that he will get that stuff back. And the consequences are a lot of hat-tricks and a lot of goals and a lot of assists.
Yeah, it's easy to make it all about him, but when you put yourself in his shoes for a second, just how much would you have enjoyed playing along the likes of, say, a Kevin De Bruyne or a Phil Foden?
I think that is a part of thing. When he went from Salzburg to Dortmund, he had a lot of alternatives going to top clubs. He saw at that time that if he goes to Dortmund, that fits his development. And he had the same process now. He was early doors when he said that that there are 3 or 4 clubs that is good for me, and that they have this point system, this team Haaland, where they look at different things. And of course, the players you have around you, the way they play football, that is very, very important to him. As it is important for Manchester City to improve with a number 9 now. But of course, for him as well, when you have 3, 4, 5, 6 players around him who can only serve him and do him better, and they get another alternative. They got someone to play the ball up to. And so this, so far, is a match in heaven.
And there'll be managers across the Premier League, managers in the Champions League as well after yesterday and the other games as well, scratching their heads thinking, how on earth do you stop this man? And yeah, I understand you got a bit of an inside scoop yesterday concerning Erling Haaland's pre-match meal. What exactly have you discovered?
Well, we have a great pundit working for me as my sidekick on games now. He has played for Nottingham Forest, Leeds and Manchester City. And by the way, he's also the dad of Erling Haaland. So I'm talking about Alfie Haaland. And I asked him about the preparation. What do they do the night before a game? And he said, well, Pep tells the player he wants them to stay home. So then Alfie will do his lasagna to Erling. And after I put that out yesterday, I think there are some managers now, they want Alfie to come to their players to make some lasagna. This must be a miracle lasagna. I think that you will have a chef now coming out with a book, Alfie Haaland, with match preparation meals for goal-getters. I think that is going to be a great hit in the UK.
Yeah, if you find out the recipe, send it my way. It won't help with the goals, but I'll certainly look forward to eating it. But just picking up on that family dynamic, his father looked on with great pride yesterday when he got the hat-trick. He was hugging those around him. Just how important a figure is he in what this extraordinary player is already doing?
Somehow underestimated the role and underestimated because the 2-3 last years we talked about Raiola, that was his agent, so to say. But they have a quite great structure that where Erling's father, Alfie, who knows the game, who's been around for many, many years, he's kind of the CEO. And then they get people in and around them, advise them on different things. So everything is systematic in the way they do their choices. And when they went to Salzburg, they couldn't go to bigger clubs, of course, but they knew at that stage of his career, Salzburg had a reputation by developing players, same as Dortmund. And maybe a bit more now with Manchester City, you go to a club there where you could win titles, the big titles. And also there was the emotional thing. There's a dad that played there and the kid, Erling, was running around in his Manchester City shirts. But Alfie Haaland, very, very important, and he builds trust, he builds credibility around him. And I think there are some footballers who, when they look back on their career, they will probably say that if only my dad was thinking long-term, not only short-term, and going after the money early in my career, maybe I would have had a better career. And I'm not talking about my dad because he was a captain on an oil ship.
Learn a new thing every day. Jan, you mentioned just a few questions ago that you followed Haaland's move to City this summer with that Fly on the Wall documentary. In terms of the time you spent with him as you put that documentary together, was anything you learnt about the man, the player, that perhaps you didn't know before, that took you a little bit by surprise? Well, when you've been in football for so many years as I've been, you always end up seeing that kid who wants to play football. And Erling Haaland is just like another 21-year-old at that time when we started and turning into 22. He's a kid who loves his football, so passionate about his football. It surprised me that he was like so much 24/7, going from what he's drinking, what he's eating, his sleeping, what is the first thing you do in. Have we lost Jan?
No, I'm there.
Oh, you're still here. There. Keep going.
Yeah. No, it's surprised me. I just heard a voice, but probably in my head. But there was the thing that he was so intense about how to prepare also outside the pitch. I've never seen something like it. It's about eating and drinking. It's by sleeping. It's how you're in balance and so on. And I also liked him that he's still this kid that liked to provocate people, like to sit with some designer clothes that looks like pajamas. And when you ask him, why do you do that? He just say, why not? I just like to see people's reaction, and I like that. But when you see him in interviews in the past, he's developing in that area as well. You can see that he so enjoy his game. But for me, it was all down to find that 22-year-old that loves his football, because we think of them as football stars and machines and everything, but they are 22-year-olds who are supposed to deliver every weekend.
I'm sure you saw them. There were a number of stories last week concerning his dad, who we've already spoken about, and he was suggesting that perhaps Erling might not be at City for the long term. Is that how you see it?
Now, that was also a quote from the documentary. What Alfie said, it's quite interesting to see in the career of Erling that he likes to get different cultures. So he's already been in Norway, Austria, Germany, and now he ending up in England. But that was nothing to do with that. It was just the way they are thinking. They like to be inspired by those kind of things. Because the thing is, though, when he came to Salzburg, it's around 3 years ago, he scored a hat-trick against Genk in the Champions League. And then he improved so quick that he had to leave. He scored so many goals in the Champions League. Coming to Dortmund, I think they thought that he would stay longer there as well. And now he's coming to Manchester City, improving all the time, but the clubs are getting bigger and bigger. So that was just an inspiration of the team, how they see a career over 20 years, say.
Let's just pick up on what he's done so far this season, and it is already quite extraordinary. He's just 9 goals off what Mo Salah and Son Heung-min's 23 goals that won them the Golden Boot last season. Still 30 games to go. What kind of tally do you see him finishing with? Because surely he's going to go past that in no time.
Well, you see, Simon, everybody can do the maths. I mean, you don't have to be a former footballer with a bad knee to kind of do that analysis. What you have to see is how he's going to keep this level, how he's going to... He's not a machine. This is a 22-year-old guy from Bryne who is improving all the time. But this depends on the team, injuries, also a bit luck and everything. That belongs to it as well. And so... the tally, I mean, everybody can see if this goes, where it will end up. But this is sport. This is not something machine thing. And I think that sometimes we are too early and put the tag machine, goal machine. Now, he's a goal 22-year-old boy who always... Well, going into Manchester derby, and everybody expect him to do well. Well, he did okay, didn't he? With scoring a hat-trick and doing 2 assists. So that depends on so many different things. So I don't want to tip on that.
Well said, Jan. Always good to chat to you. If you find out that lasagna recipe, send it our way, will you? Thanks so much for your, thanks for your time.
Pleasure.